formal meeting.
All right. Here we go again. Welcome to today's meeting. We are happy to have you here, whether you're joining in person or online. We'll hope you'll continue to participate in whichever manner you feel most comfortable. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Before we move through the agenda, I want to go quickly through registration information and our rules and standards for public meetings. We welcome everyone, and the council's goal is to make the meetings a place where people feel safe and comfortable participating in their government. We invite everyone to help us make this a welcoming space. A respectful and safe environment allows us to conduct the meeting in an orderly and efficient way. Our most basic rule is that any action that causes a disruption to our ability to conduct the meeting or safety concerns involving threats or unprotected speech are not allowed. These actions or comments may result in removal from the meeting. As a reminder, for our public comment registration process, individuals may register to comment on scheduled public hearing items up until the hearing is closed. For the general comment section, we will accept signups until 7:30 p.m. The general comment section is limited to a maximum of 1 hour and will only include commenters who register before 7:30. So if you're here to give general comments, please sign up, and remember that it is possible not everyone who signs up will have the opportunity to speak. This brings us to item A4, which is approving the work session minutes of September 2nd, 2025, as well as the formal meeting minutes of June 10th, 2025, July 8th, 2025, and September 9th, 2025. I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. This has been moved by Councilmember Lopez Chavez and seconded by Councilmember Dugan. Any discussion to the motion? Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. That passes unanimously. Moving on to the next item, A5, the council will consider adopting a joint ceremonial resolution with Mayor Mendenhall recognizing November 12th through the 19th as Transgender Awareness Week and November 20th as Transgender Day of Remembrance in Salt Lake City. I will now turn the time over to Councilmember Lopez Chavez, who will read the resolution.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the joint resolution recognizing Transgender Awareness Week and Transgender Day of Remembrance for 2025. Whereas Transgender Awareness Week, observed annually from November 13th through 19th, seeks to raise awareness, visibility, and understanding of the transgender community by sharing stories and experiences, educating the public, and advocating against prejudice, discrimination, and violence. And whereas in 1999, Gwendolyn Ann Smith, a transgender woman, founded the first Transgender Day of Remembrance to honor Rita Hester and the other transgender individuals whose lives were taken by acts of violence. And whereas Transgender Day of Remembrance serves as a time to honor those lost to transphobic violence and discrimination, while renewing our collective resolve to ensure safety, dignity, and respect for all. And whereas this observance also celebrates the vibrancy, diversity, and resilience of the transgender community and recognizes the invaluable contributions and achievements of transgender individuals. And whereas Salt Lake City affirms its commitment to equality, justice, and inclusion by uplifting transgender voices, experiences, and leadership, and by fostering a community where every person is seen, heard, and valued. And whereas Salt Lake City remains dedicated to advancing equity and opportunity for transgender residents through inclusive policies and community partnerships. And whereas Salt Lake City stands firmly against discrimination, harassment, and violence targeting transgender and gender diverse people. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Salt Lake City Council and the Mayor of Salt Lake City honor and celebrate the lives, strength, and contributions of transgender people, reaffirm the city's commitment to stand against stigma and transphobic violence, and formally recognize the week of November 13th through 19th, 2025 as Transgender Awareness Week, and Thursday, November 20th, 2025 as Transgender Day of Remembrance. Chairman?
Thank you, Council Member. I will look for a motion.
Move for approval.
All right, it's been moved by Councilmember Pui and seconded by Councilmember Wharton. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. I'd like to welcome Dallas Rivas on behalf of the Glitter Foundation and David Torrey on behalf of the Coalition here with us today to receive the resolution. Thank you for being here. If you'd like to come up to the podium and say a few words, we'd be happy to hear from you.
Good evening, council members, mayor, and everyone in attendance. My name is David Torrey, they, them, theirs, and I am proud to stand here tonight on behalf of the Trans Coalition to accept this resolution. It is truly an honor to be here. First, I want to express our gratitude for the intention and care behind this moment. A resolution may not change a law overnight, but it does change the emotional landscape we live in. It tells a community that the city they call home sees them, values them, and is willing to say so publicly. That is not nothing, that is leadership. For transgender and gender diverse people, visibility isn't symbolic, it's survival. And when our city chooses to affirm us, it sends a message far beyond these chambers. It tells a kid who feels alone that they are not alone. It tells a parent who is trying to understand their child that affirmation matters. And it tells adults like me, people who grew up without the language or support to understand ourselves, that the future can be brighter than the past. I want to take a moment to speak personally because resolutions like this are not abstract to me. I grew up as a trans person who didn't always feel safe. I spent many years believing I had to choose between who I was and whether I would be accepted. I endured things no child should ever face simply for being different, and for a long time, I didn't have examples of people like me living openly, joyfully, and unapologetically. And yet, here I am, standing at a city council meeting, representing a coalition of proud, resilient, courageous trans people, accepting a resolution that recognizes our worth and our humanity. If you had told younger me that this moment would be possible, I would not have believed you. That is why tonight matters, not just for me, but for every person who is still searching for safety, belonging, and affirmation. The Trans Coalition's work is rooted in community. We advocate, we educate, we support, and we fight for the simple truth that all people deserve dignity, but we cannot do this work alone. Moments like this build bridges. They strengthen trust. They show that our city values compassion over fear and inclusion over division. This resolution also acknowledges something essential. Transgender people are part of Salt Lake City. We are your neighbors. We are your coworkers. We are artists, organizers, caregivers, students, leaders, and community members. We contribute, we show up, we care deeply, and yes, we deserve protection, visibility, and opportunity. In a time when trans people across the country face hostility, misinformation, and legislative harm, Salt Lake City choosing to recognize us sends a different message. You belong here. You are part of our community, and you deserve safety and respect. This kind of affirmation can change and even save lives. So on behalf of the Trans Coalition, I want to say thank you. Thank you for the resolution. Thank you for the courage it takes to support us openly when others stay silent. Thank you for giving us space in your chambers, your agenda, and your hearts. And thank you for standing with us during a time when being visible is both necessary and brave. We look forward to continued partnership, continued conversations, education, and progress. And we hope this resolution serves as a reminder that real change is something we create together, step by step, voice by voice. It is an honor to accept this resolution on behalf of the Trans Coalition. Thank you for seeing us, supporting us, and standing with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. Go. Yes, perfect. Dallas, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm Dallas Rivas, and I did not know I was going to speak, but since I have a microphone, I'm going to tell you what's going on with our trans community. Me and Logan Hill from the Glitter Foundation, Saturday we put up the world's largest Transgender Day of Remembrance Memorial. It's sitting at 200 East and 100 South at St. Mark's Episcopal Church. It consists of two huge structures made of metal, thanks to Logan, and volunteers that help them drill it together. And right now we have over 330 names of victims that were killed, murdered, or committed suicide worldwide this year. This is the very, very first year that the United States is beating the entire world in murder. This is the first year ever since I've done this in decades that we have beat Brazil. Brazil has less deaths. Every year they have almost 200 deaths just in Brazil every year. We beat them this year. That's not good. We need policies not to hinder us. We need policies to help us. You know, we need love, we need acceptance, and I just definitely want everybody to go see those, every single flag holds the name of a person and their entire story. I put QR codes to prove all the stories that came out about these people. This year we had 2 suicides in Salt Lake City, which we don't want to see that. Last year there was 5, so we've gone down, but I don't want to say I'm from the country where we have the most transgender hate. Definitely not good. So anyway, just wanted you guys to please go check it out. You'll see how real the problem is when you see those cards. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dallas and David, if you want to come up and we can take a picture with the resolution behind the diocese. If you.
It isn't District 1's finest. Good to meet you.
It's gonna take you like an hour.
Okay, thank you. Our next item is A6. The council will recognize Maria Garcia for her service as Executive Director of NeighborWorks. I'm going to turn the time over to Councilmember Wharton for the recognition.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tonight, we have the privilege of recognizing someone who embodies community, compassion, and leadership on Salt Lake City's west side, Maria Garcia's. Maria's story is one of persistence, purpose, and a deep love for people. For nearly 40 years, she has built bridges and opened doors through her work at NeighborWorks Salt Lake. What began as volunteering to help youth build life skills became a lifelong calling to empower communities from within. As the daughter of migrant workers, Maria learned early what it means to organize, lift others, and find dignity in hard work. Those lessons shaped the leader that she became, someone who listens first, leads with her heart, and makes space for others to find their voice. Under her direction, programs like YouthWorks and Westside Leadership Institute have helped hundreds of young people and residents become change makers wherever they go. Proof that Maria's legacy has a multiplying impact and will be felt across Salt Lake City for years to come. Maria, the council thanks you for showing us what community leadership truly looks like: steadfast, humble, and visionary. You've shown that organizing, whether it's in the front of the room or from behind the scenes, is about helping others belong. To honor your years of service, the council presents this artwork. A Sioux Indian child and a grizzly bear cub, sisters of Mother Earth. The artist described it as a symbol of connection in the earliest stages of life, when play and learning are at their purest. It reminds us of how you have nurtured our city by guiding and celebrating its growth. On behalf of the Salt Lake City Council and the residents whose lives you've touched, I want to thank you so much, Maria. You have truly painted your heart across this city. And as a personal note, it is my honor to represent you on this council. Thank you. We're gonna let everybody, anyone else who wants to say a few words, and then Maria, if you want to come up and say something, we'd love to have you. Okay, go ahead, Councilmember Lopez Chavez.
Thank you.
Sorry, whoops.
Just jumping the line.
Sorry. Madam Chair, is it okay if we do everything I just said?
No, let's start with Councilmember Lopez Chavez, and then Councilmember Poi is actively waiting in line.
Thank you. Maria Garcia is, just saying that name is powerful and potent, and I think some of my colleagues in the room and the people here will understand that it's because of the work that you've done for the last 40 years that colleagues like Victoria Petro and myself get to be here, other individuals as well. But I just wanted to say, man, I read about you all the time, and I'm going, Maria, these lawmakers, they're scared. They're scared of you because you're such a hard worker and you're so dedicated and you don't give up. And even though you're emeritus now, I want to recognize that you've passed on the baton to women like myself, like my predecessor, like other women in our community, and it means so much that you could be here in front of us because you are the example of exactly who I want to grow up to be. Thank you for your years of service, Maria.
Thank you. Councilmember Poi?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to share, briefly my experience. I have seen the service that you have provided to the community over the years, and how many people in the community admire you and look after you for guidance and an example. When I think of you and what you created around you is what is amazing. It's not only to center yourself, but it's to create community and to uplift the community, which I think it's one of the most amazing gifts we can give, and you have done that. I value you standing up for our communities along the way, and I know that you're not going to stop doing that. And I value that you have highlighted how diversity and inclusion matter. And how our voices at the table matter. And if we are not invited at the table, we're going to keep showing up until we are part of that table. And you have taught us how to lead, and I am looking forward to carrying, as a community, the work that you have started.
Thank you. Councilmember Petro?
As stated earlier, I sit in this seat because of the work that you and the other matriarchs from our community have done. In this moment in history, the table that you have set for us is even more important, and I see how the strength of your matriarchal leadership is even more necessary today, and take seriously the responsibility to carry it on. You have never once gatekept. Any resource that was available to you, even to someone who just moved into the area and was an ambiguously ethnic girl trying to figure out how to help out, you welcomed in and shaped. You never shy away from saying the hard things and conflate niceness with what needs to be done. Yet you never alienate even when saying those hard things, because you understand human nature is what it is, and we're going to have to repeat ourselves even when we shouldn't have to. You have strategy that is insightful beyond any kind of warm, fuzzy, fluffy notion of diversity and inclusion. And you tolerate indignity with more dignity than I have ever seen. And surely that has to be something that keeps the moral arc of this universe bending towards justice, even though you should never have had to endure it. I'm thankful for what you've done for Latinas, for the Latin community, for the West Side, and for the city, and in that order. I am so proud to be able to claim a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of your legacy, and so thankful for the ability to live within the warmth that you've created. I am so thankful. You're not going anywhere, so I'm still going to come harass you. It's just like a moment where I can put on the public record how cool you are. But thank you so much for everything and for what you've done, and we promise, like you, that we will leave it better than we found it.
Thank you.
Excellent. Maria, do you want to share a few words?
You guys are breaking me. Rachel, council members, I have to first, certainly thank you so much. This recognition touches my heart more than I can express, but the most thrilling thing for me in my 40 years of community development is to stand before this diverse city council and to have this diversity of age and neighborhoods. And I will say that I've watched most of you grow up except Dan. So when I first, so I'm going to do my written comments because I'll get too emotional. Thank you for those comments. You honor me far beyond than what I deserve. When I first walked into NeighborWorks Salt Lake as a volunteer in 1982, I thought I was helping for a short while, certainly not beginning a 39-year journey. If someone had told me I'd be there 39 years later, I would have asked for better shoes and probably more vacation days, as you know how nonprofits operate. But this city that I grew up in captured my heart like it has you. I mean, you have the courage to serve and commitment to community, and that's what inspires me. And it's important for you to know that Salt Lake City has been an important part of my chapters throughout my journey, some good, some not so good, but I appreciate that the city has always opened its doors to me. I deeply value this administration's leadership and the council's willingness to invite me to the table and to agree to disagree. Your collaboration, your openness, and steadiness have made the hard work lighter, less gray hair, less wrinkles, and for that, I am truly grateful. Whenever we brought forward a bold idea, reviving a block others had given up on, like Argyle Court in Guadalupe neighborhood, creating a gang prevention program like YouthWorks, supporting mixed income housing like City Front, or building on the Community Land Trust that we'll be breaking ground on soon, you didn't step back. You leaned in, and together we turned city investment into real opportunities, homes, stability, and futures for families. And it's important for you to own that and to be proud of that, because often you give out these funding and you get the complaints, but you don't always get the compliments. So I'm here to tell you that our successes should be owned by you. So thank you for that. I've watched young people become leaders, neighborhoods come back to life, and families receive keys to homes they never imagined possible. For all my years in this work, not one day passed without the joy of seeing lives shift, grow, and take root. And many of you are examples of that. As I step into this next chapter, I carry deep gratitude for every partnership, every challenge we pushed through, and every moment this city asked, how can we help? And yes, I will remind the audience, the city will step in and they will help. I will continue, I'm just warning you, I will continue to advocate for the West Side and all it deserves, because there is still a lot of work to do. And this community's brilliance, resilience, and rich diversity deserve to be truly valued and seen at the heart of the city. Salt Lake City's greatest strength is not its buildings or its budgets, and I've heard this from many of you. It is its people. So thank you so much for this recognition, and understand it is not mine alone, but a reflection of the many staff, the volunteers, the residents, the partners, and my family, my partner Dave of, I think, 40-something years. My son, Joaquin, is he here? Oops. Joaquin and my daughter, Solana, they always remind me that I forget to mention them. So I'm mentioning them, who supported the many hours consumed by my community work, and many of you understand that very well. Thank you for your trust and the opportunity to serve the city and the community that has shaped my life in the most meaningful way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maria, do you want to come up and take a photo?
Oh, you bet.
So this brings us to the public hearing section of our agenda. These are specific proposals before the council that require a public hearing. Your comments should pertain to the hearing item, and if you go off topic, we'll ask you to stop your comment. Our meeting rules apply to hearing comments as well. Please avoid disruptions or threats, or we will ask a staff member to assist you out of the meeting. Also, as a reminder, comments that include profanity, personal attacks, intimidation, or discriminatory language are not persuasive or compelling to the council. They're not helpful in creating a respectful or safe environment. To sign up for comment on any of the hearing items, please register online or turn in a comment card to an in-person staff that are available at the doors. We accept signups until the hearing item is closed. We will be calling the names in order of sign up. If you are on Zoom, please unmute your mic when your name is called. Each person will have 2 minutes. If you reach the 2-minute mark, the host will announce time and your microphone will be muted. If you need staff assistance in the room or on Zoom, please raise your hand and someone will be with you. If you have technical issues in Zoom, our staff member, Akshay Wupuluri, can assist you. If you're unable to finish your comment, please share the rest via email, mail, or call our office. Contact information is listed at slccouncil.com. If you have a handout for council, please notify council staff who will assist you. Our first public hearing is for items B1 and B2, our grant applications, and will be heard as one public hearing. We will, before we begin taking comments, I will turn the time over to Sylvia Richards, Council Policy Analyst, to give a short introduction.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The city periodically applies for grants which fund some city programs. Each grant will receive a public hearing and giving the council and the public an opportunity to learn about those grants. First is the Innovative Finance and Asset Concession Grant, which will fund the advancement of Sugar House Streetcar S-Line extension from Fairmont Station East past Highland Drive. Second is the fiscal year 24 COPS Technology and Equipment Program Invitational Solicitation Grant, for which the city is a sub-awardee. Funds would provide for the purchase of a license plate reader cameras to be installed on major roads leading to other counties as part of routine law enforcement operations to improve public safety and reduce criminal activity. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Taylor, please start with our first public comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have one person registered to speak to these items. That will be MJ Powell. MJ, you may now unmute.
Good evening, City Council members, constituents, as well as administration members. I'm a former Salt Lake City Racial Equity and Policing Commissioner. I'm speaking on item 2 regarding fiscal year 2024 COPS Technology and Equipment Grant for license plate readers. I'm not opposing LPRs outright, but if the city accepts federal funding for surveillance tools, it must do so with clear limits and full transparency. First, the public needs to know how much equipment is being purchased, where it will be placed, and how the total grant, what the total grant amount actually covers. Second, the city must guarantee that no federal agency, including DOJ, COPS, ICE, or Homeland Security investigations can access or use LPR data without explicit local approval. Data control must stay within the city. Third, if this is a community-oriented policing grant, then the city should ensure that some portion should also support the true community building strategy, youth programs, co-response, and neighborhood engagement, not only surveillance infrastructure. And finally, if you move forward, please attach conditions, strict data retention limits, annual public reporting, and an independent audit to prevent misuse. These steps will allow the city to improve safety without sacrificing civil liberties. With my remaining 40 seconds, I would like to point out that we know that data is a sensitive issue as we approach that topic with the state and the federal administration. It is now the time of all city council members to push back egregiously against unjust, inhumane, and immoral behavior and characterizations pushed forward by an unjust abuse, misuse of power by the federal government, specifically Donald Trump. And I hope you'll listen to me on this, please. Thank you.
And that was the final register commenter for this item.
Okay, thanks, Taylor. I'll look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that the council close the public hearing and refer items B1 and B2 to a future consent agenda for
Second.
action.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Councilmember Poi, seconded by Councilmember Lopez Chavez. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right, that passes unanimously. All right, we are moving on to our next item, B3, which is an ordinance for RMF 35 and RMF 45 multifamily zoning district text amendment. Before we begin taking comments, I'll turn the time over to Brian Fulmer, Council Policy Analyst, to give us a short introduction.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a proposal to make amendments to the RMF 35 or moderate density multifamily residential and RMF 45, which is moderate to high density multifamily residential, zoning ordinance and map. The intended development of medium to high density housing types in the zoning districts has not happened since their creation due to a variety of barriers and limitations. The proposed changes are designed to remove those. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Taylor, please start with our first public comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have 10 people registered to speak to this item. The first will be Lauren Cole, followed by Mohith Raphael, and then Cindy Cromer. Lauren is here in person.
My name is Lauren Cole, and I'm here tonight on behalf of Wasatch Advocates for Livable Communities, formerly Salt Lake County Neighbors for More Neighbors, and a resident of District 3 in strong support of RMF 35 and 45 updates. For 3 decades, zoning obstacles, not a lack of demand, have prevented these districts from producing the range of housing choices they were created to encourage. Currently, 2/3 of lots do not meet the minimum width requirement. Nearly half are too small to qualify for the kinds of homes these zones were intended to allow. These restrictions have effectively frozen development, undermining the city's housing, climate, and transportation goals, and creating a clear mismatch between the available housing options and what the community wants and needs. You have the power to fix these broken zones and create new housing options for your constituents. The stakes are high, our population is growing, families are being priced out of the neighborhoods they love, school enrollments are shrinking, workers in every industry struggle to live near where they work. We need to create attainable home ownership opportunities for residents today and for the next generation. This proposal does exactly that. By right-sizing zoning regulations and modernizing parking requirements, especially when 96% of lots in these districts are near transit, we can finally allow the wide range of housing options these zones were meant for. Across the country, cities that enable diverse housing forms are the ones beginning to bend the cost curve. Salt Lake City can do the same by removing barriers to creating the types of homes that have always shaped our most beloved neighborhoods. These reforms will give people the ability to live where they work, care for family close by, age in place, and stay connected to the neighborhoods that they love. They make room for people, not just buildings. We urge you to adopt these amendments and finally unlock the housing opportunities these districts were designed to provide. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next will be Mohith Raphael, followed by Cindy Cromer, and then Jim Jenkins. Mohith is here in person.
Taylor, can you say the name one more time?
Mohith, M-O-H-I-T-H.
Is that individual here? It doesn't look like they're here, Taylor. Do we want to move to the next commenter?
Next will be Cindy Cromer, followed by Jim Jenkins, and then Harold Woodruff. Cindy's here in person.
My name is still Cindy Cromer, and I want to thank you for agreeing to meet with me about this proposal. I also want to thank the staff for the time required to orchestrate those meetings. Not until this morning did I conceptualize this proposal as the upzoning that it is. So then I asked, why isn't the community benefit being applied? Granted, this petition was not initiated by a property owner, but it represents a significant windfall to owners. The increased development will occur mostly in historic parts of the city where infrastructure and transportation fabric are older. These parts of the city need housing which is family-oriented, affordable, and accessible. These parts of the city do not need market-rate housing for the foreseeable future. So why isn't the requirement for a community benefit associated with this proposal? Central City certainly needs the benefits identified in the ordinance based on thriving in place. And my concern about community benefit is in addition to the voluminous concerns I have raised about the impacts on the city's historic. Thank you.
Next will be Jim Jenkin, followed by Harold Woodruff, and then Sean McMillan. Jim is here in person.
Good evening. Thanks for hearing me. I am the Land Use Chair for the Greater Avenues Community Council. Our comments have been expressed in writing multiple times. I'll just hit a couple of high points. There's some holdover from the mixed use language in here that is inappropriate for historic districts. That would specifically be the requirement for federal registration for relief from encroachment. Historic districts do generally not contain very many of these federal registry properties because they are discouraged by federal guidelines, because the district itself is a group of historic districts. I'd also like to comment that the RMF 35 district is found in 4 different historic districts in the city. And while my viewpoint is avenue-centric, historic character is a part of civic and community identity across the city. And so once we lose anything from history, it can't be recovered. So we would argue that the proposal fails to protect the nature of local historic districts. Particularly, we question the ability of the Historic Landmarks Commission to pick up the slack, as planning has said. Their decisions historically have been to permit non-contributory structures to the full height of the zone. And many of those decisions are made by staff without even going to historic landmarks. So we'd like to see a little tweaking there too.
Thank you.
Next will be Harold Woodruff, followed by Sean McMillan, and then Maddie Sedweeks. Harold is here in person.
Hello, Harold Woodruff. I'm the architect for First Step House. We think you have a very well-written ordinance and should be passed. However, we have just 2 items which are causing a little bit of an issue and probably cause other people issues. One is the multifamily residential building form standard that only allows a maximum of 20 units in a building. The other one is the design standards, which only allow a building to be 100 feet in length. We understand why these are in there, so that the massing and size of the buildings are smaller and don't dwarf the neighborhood. A year ago, we received zone change for RMF 45 for a project which has more than 20 units and is more than 100 feet in length. We believe that our project is managed 24 hours a day and staffed, and for security, it's essential that we monitor where people come into a central point and who's in our project. We would have to divide our project into 2 separate buildings, which is okay. We would like to propose a slight exception to this ordinance. That would be that if a project has 2 separate buildings, each building has to be under 20 units and is no more than 100 feet in length, but they could be connected with something that allows for circulation or lobbies or vestibules that will tie the 2 buildings together. It should be set back from the face of the 2 buildings and be of less height. We believe.
Time.
Thank you.
Next will be Sean McMillan, followed by Maddie Sedweeks, and then Turner Bitten. Sean is here in person.
Hello, everyone. Sean McMillan, Executive Director for Step House. Want to continue Harold's comments. So many of you have been to our facilities. You know that they are very service rich. You know that security is very, very important to us. And there's a certain economy of scale when we're able to put more people into one building, and there are other benefits as well. So an impact on operations that this zone change will have is that we'll have two buildings, and unless we're able to create connection between the two buildings and by that connection control access to the building, we will have to fully staff both buildings, which means two staff 24/7, means two clinical services teams. It means, as far as cost to the building, two separate elevator systems, stairs, but it also means supportive services space that we use to provide supportive services to the tenants in the building, essentially doubling our cost of operations. So there are things that are problematic about the proposed ordinance change. There are many things that we actually like, but this is an impact that I think was perhaps unintended. And I also want to remind the council that we went through a whole process to get a project approved last year, and this change has undone that. So thank you.
Thank you.
And next will be Maddie Sedgwick's, followed by Turner Bitten, and then Chris Metz. Maddie's here in person.
Good evening, council members. My name is Maddie Sedgwick's, and I'm here tonight as a proud resident of District 4 and a part of the next generation of this city who wants to continue living, working, and contributing to our community. I'm speaking in strong support of the proposed updates to the RMF 35 and 45 zoning districts because I believe these changes will create real opportunities for young people, our city's working people, and future residents to live and thrive in the city we love. When this policy was written 30 years ago, Salt Lake City was a very different place. Our population was shrinking, and the focus was on preservation and limiting neighborhood decline. But today, Salt Lake City is a vibrant place. It's a place where people feel safe and like they're a part of a thriving and inclusive community. Our community's diversity acts as a beacon of hope for not just those in our neighborhoods, but folks from across the state. I know this firsthand as a queer and trans person who moved from the suburbs to this city to find opportunity and belonging. These reasons are why so many people want to call Salt Lake City home, and you have the power to create new places for neighbors to do just that. We can't build a future on policies designed for the past, especially when they're fundamentally broken, like these are. If we want Salt Lake City to remain vibrant, inclusive, and accessible to all, not just those who got here first, then we need to take proactive action to create more housing options. This means legalizing the kinds of homes that young people like myself and working class people can actually afford to live in, like duplexes, cottage courts, small apartments, and shared housing. This proposal is a step towards that future. Let's make room for the next generation and make Salt Lake City a place where everyone has a chance to belong. Thank you.
And next will be Turner Bitten, followed by Chris Metz, and then Matt Sadokas. Turner is here in person.
Hi, good evening. My name is Turner Bitten. I'm a resident of District 2, as well as the Executive Director of Wasatch Advocates for Livable Communities. We work across the Wasatch Front to promote the kind of sustainable, transit-rich communities that all of us want to live in. We're here tonight to speak in support of the proposed updates to the RMF 35 and 45 zoning districts. There's a dangerous myth that we'll likely hear tonight at some point, which is the myth of naturally occurring affordable housing. If it's a myth that if we just wait long enough, if homes get old enough, that they over time become more affordable. But this is only true if we're continually adding to the supply of housing in our growing city. Naturally occurring affordable housing is the result of policy decisions like this one that you all have to make. These changes that you're considering tonight are part of a growing trend across the country. Cities in our region, across the country, are tackling the affordability crisis, and the cities that are bending the cost curve most effectively are doing so by building the kind of moderate density and high density housing that these zones will call for. In fact, a recent study of the Denver metro area, which we're often compared to given similar growth trends, shows that new housing construction has reduced rents across the market, with the steepest declines among the most affordable older apartment buildings. New supply has a positive impact on existing housing stock. It's not naturally occurring. It's the result of deliberate and evidence-informed policy changes like these. It unlocks relief not just at the top end of the income spectrum, but most critically at the bottom end of the income spectrum. Folks who are working, folks who are striving, folks who are trying to find their place here in our city. The homes of this proposal would allow already exist in the neighborhoods where they're being proposed. So this is not a math.
Hi. Next will be Chris Metz, followed by Matt Sadukas. Chris is here in person.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for your public service. I'll only take a minute or two, and I'll be very personal about this as I look at the proposal of moving from RMF 35 to 45. Where I live, the building that I live in is the only property being changed or being affected by this, and it is a condominium building owned by the residents. And so as I look through all of the materials, I'm wondering to myself, what will be the impact? And I don't think the impact on existing buildings, and when it feels like for that whole region, for that whole block to only have the one building identified, it makes me wonder, okay, why that building? Why now? It didn't fit the model that I was seeing. It doesn't fit the new building that we're talking about. So I just offer that question. Let's assess what the impact might be to existing buildings and existing residences. Thank you.
Next will be Matt Sadukas, who is online. You may now unmute.
Taylor, we can't hear Matt.
That is the final commenter for this item. Let me troubleshoot real quick.
Okay, let us know if we need to come back. Did we have anyone else who was here to comment on this item? Great, come on up. Yeah, if you can just state your name for the public record.
Good evening, my name is Mohit Ropale. I think you called me earlier, but I just barely missed it. I live in District 4, and I also serve on the board of Wasatch Advocates for Livable Communities. I'm here tonight to express our strong support for the proposed updates to the RMF 35 and RMF 45 zoning districts. These changes reflect a clear commitment to solving Salt Lake City's housing affordability crisis with smart, balanced tools. For decades, the RMF 35 and 45 zones have promised moderate density housing, but delivered mostly single-family homes and large apartments with very little of the missing middle that our neighborhoods desperately need. Outdated lot sizes and parking rules have made it almost impossible to build small, walkable, neighborhood-scale housing. This proposal goes a long way in fixing that. In short, this proposal is about the options that our neighbors need to make life in our city. We're especially excited about the introduction of new building types like cottage court and sideways row houses and the incentives for preserving existing homes while gently adding more. These are the kind of options that allow seniors to stay in their communities, young families to find a foothold, and our city's workforce to live near their jobs. And the focus on walkability, transit access, and equitable development citywide is deserving of recognition. Thank you for your thoughtful consideration of this proposal, and to city staff for working so hard to get this policy right. I urge the council to approve the proposal tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Taylor, were we able to fix Matt's audio?
Looks like it is still not working, Matt, unless you're able to unmute now.
Okay, it doesn't sound like we can hear him. So Matt, you can submit your comment to us through any of the channels that we articulated earlier, email or printed copy here at the office. With that, thank you to everyone who made a comment, and I will look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that the council close the public hearing and defer action to a future council meeting.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Councilmember Wharton and seconded by Councilmember Pui. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Excellent. Councilmember Pui.
I would like to say that, you know, while there is not perfect policy, you know, I believe that this policy, you know, and this study started over a year ago with presentations to the community councils, to a study done publicly, and to seeking a lot of feedback with multiple sessions of feedback in the Planning Commission. And yet still that, you know, no policy and ordinance will be ever perfect. But what I think this ordinance does accomplish is an update of 30 years in the making of a city that didn't have a robust public transportation system in 1995 to where we are today. A city that was, as mentioned, not growing and flat in population to a city that is booming in population, and we have the struggles every day of the need for housing. I see this ordinance solving many issues, including the minimum lots, the maximum lots requirements are completely off. The requirements of parking are also off. And I also am excited for regularizing non-compliant lots, non-compliant structures, that there are so many in the city. So people that are basically stuck in between, you know, in between the old world and the new world and zoning, where their structures are not living up to the current standards. And this will allow them to regularize their structures and potentially make improvements to them. I'm excited for the incentives to keep the existing structures that this ordinance allows. What I do believe, I don't understand all the consequences of this ordinance. I do believe that the biggest consequences of this ordinance will mean more housing in our neighborhoods and more places for people to make homes in our neighborhoods, which I think it is the goal that we're trying to accomplish here. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none.
I do.
Oh, yes,
Just
Councilmember
briefly,
Ward.
I am interested in pursuing a couple more questions from some discussions that we've had today, and I would just want to add to those questions those that First Step House raised. So I'm hoping we can look into those before we vote on this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? All right. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously. All right, our last item in B is an ordinance for the Wildland Urban Interface Fire Code text amendment. Before we begin taking comments, I will turn the time over to Michael Sanders, Council Policy Analyst, to give a short introduction. Michael.
Okay, thank you, Council. During the 2025 session, the Utah State Legislature passed House Bill 48. As part of this bill, municipalities are required to adopt and enforce a Wildland Urban Interface Building Standard Code. This building code would only apply to the parcels identified in the Salt Lake City Wildland Urban Interface Map, shown as Attachment A on the draft ordinance. It is not a citywide application. Past actions on this item include the September 24th Planning Commission meeting, where the Commission forwarded a positive recommendation to approve the ordinance, and the Council was briefed on this item during the October 21st work session. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Taylor, please start with our first public comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have one person registered to speak to this item. That will be Ian McCubbin, who is here in person.
Hello, my name is Ian McCubbin. I'm a resident of District 3. Thank you, Councilmember Wharton, and congratulations. I was at that City Planning Commission meeting, and that was not very well managed. It was disappointing. Our voices weren't heard. There was a lot of concern. There was tears expressed, and they were not listening to us. For 8 years, myself and other residents have urged Salt Lake City to address poor land management practices within the high-risk WUI adjacent to their homes, mine included. This land, designated as high to extreme risk by the Utah DNR, is within the Foothills open space. It's managed and owned by the Salt Lake City Public Lands and Public Utilities. A significant oversight exists in the proposed WUI code. It currently excludes the extreme high-risk zones that the city owns from this WUI designation. People living, working, and recreating the WUI feel the impact of wildland fire. Implementing the WUI code is a critical step forward, and I thank Salt Lake City Fire and their leadership in this effort. It's an important step. The Salt Lake City WUI code, mandated by House Bill 48, aims to harden structure, manage the environment by requiring fire-resistant construction and defensible space on properties near natural vegetation, such as the Upper Avenues, East Bench, Capitol Hill. The current WUI map only includes private-owned properties. The WUI designation has negative financial consequence for residents, allowing insurance companies to raise rates, with some rates as high as 60%, or drop policies completely, thereby negatively affecting property values. The primary wildfire risk to our homes stems not only from adjacent properties, but from city-owned lands and Rocky Mountain Power electrical infrastructure within this high-risk zone. The City Creek watershed is a vital supply of significant amount of city water. Therefore, City Creek fireshed protection must be prioritized and integrated.
Time.
Thank you. All right, thank you for that comment. I will look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that the council close the public hearing and approve the ordinance adopting the Utah Wildland Urban Interface Code.
Second.
Okay, thank you. It's been moved by Councilmember Poi and seconded by Councilmember Mono. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, there was a comment.
There was.
Sorry. Councilmember Wharton.
It was just that I understand the concern that my constituents and others have raised about this. I don't want to prevent it from going forward, so I'm going to be voting yes, but those concerns are heard, and I'm going to continue to work on that issue, on those parts of this issue. So just wanted to say that ahead of time. Thank you.
Excellent. Any other comments? All right, let's vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Okay, that brings us to potential action item C1 for ordinance on budget amendment number 2 for fiscal year 25-26. For this one, it looks like we don't have a briefing, so I will look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that the council adjust item A3, elected officials transition costs from $45,000 to $14,440. Adopt item A3 and the remaining items in the budget amendment as proposed by the administration, including the scrivener's errors corrections on item G2, VOCA Grant Victims Service Police Department, and 3, close the budget amendment.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Councilmember Dugan, seconded by Councilmember Poi. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously.
Madam Chair, there's also an additional motion.
I
To
am
potential
open to another motion.
The potential legislative intent. Madam Chair, I move that the council adopt a legislative intent as follows. It is the council's intent to request the administration to develop a formal policy which clearly defines when and how private donations should be accepted for CIP projects. It is the council's desire that said policy include evaluations, criteria, and approval procedures. Ongoing maintenance of the assets purchased or constructed with said donations should be considered in relation to its benefit.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion to that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Any other calls on C1? All right, we will move. So our last item for C1 as well, that doesn't seem right, is an ordinance for the zoning text amendment for public lands and street vacation for West High School. I will look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that the council adopt the ordinance amending the K-12 public school development standards and vacating a portion of 200 North between 300 West and 200 West.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Councilmember Poise, seconded by Councilmember Petro. Is there any discussion?
There sure is.
Oh, Councilmember Wharton, here you are. All right, going to you.
All right, thank you so much. So I really appreciate the additional time that everybody has given to let us address some of the neighborhood concerns with this proposal. And it's given us a lot of time to talk with the district to address those concerns. I know that there are more frustrations that neighbors have, and that a lot of neighbors wish that we could secure more commitments from the district. But I just want to highlight that through this process and through those conversations, we have been able to secure some commitments that I think will meaningfully improve this project and help with the neighborhood, including the district requesting approval from UDOT to add a one-way exit onto 300 West at the south end of the property. If approved, this would help reduce traffic on 200 West, which we've invested a lot of money in calming that street by allowing students and staff to exit directly onto 300 West after school. The portion of the parking lot behind the school, the northern portion of the parking lot behind the school will be limited to faculty and staff only. A gate will be installed to block access to the parking areas during Delta Center events and other major events in the neighborhood. That'll also help with traffic during evenings and weekends. The district's committed to planting additional mature trees that are 2 to 3 years old among the property line adjacent to residential homes to create a buffer between the school and the neighborhood. And then the district has committed to hiring a demographics team to produce updated district enrollment projections. And so I know that these measures don't cover all of the concerns raised by the community, but I do believe they demonstrate a good faith effort to try to resolve as many as we can at this point in the process. And so I appreciate that opportunity, and based on those good faith efforts, I am going to vote in favor of this, but I'm also going to be that vote is going to come with a commitment to continue to represent the neighborhood concerns throughout the construction process and throughout the first years of operation in the new building. So thank you for giving me a chance to explain that and give those remarks.
Thank you, Councilmember Wharton. Any other comments? All right, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Moving along to questions to the mayor's office. We have with us Rachel Otto, Mayor's Chief of Staff, attending on behalf of Mayor Mendenhall. Rachel, thank you for being here. Any questions? All right. Well, we appreciate you. Thank you for being here. We are now to the general comment portion of our agenda. This section is for the public to comment on any city business not scheduled for a public hearing. It is limited to a maximum of 1 hour and to only those individuals who registered to speak before 7:30 p.m. Our meeting rules apply to these general comments. Please avoid disruptions or threats, or we will ask a staff member to assist you out of the meeting. Also, as a reminder, comments that include profanity, personal attacks, intimidation, or discriminatory language are not persuasive or compelling to the council. They are not helpful in creating a respectful or safe environment. To sign up, that has passed. We will keep going. If you are on Zoom, we will be calling the names in order of sign up. If you're on Zoom, please unmute your mic when your name is called. Each person will have 2 minutes. Please raise your hand in the room or on Zoom for staff assistance. If you're having technical issues in Zoom, we have a staff member available to assist you. Please make make sure that as many people can speak as possible during the hour. Anyone in person should feel free to come up and stand in line or sit in the front row of chairs when you hear your name called in the queue. Please avoid interruptions so that we can use the time for as many people to comment as possible. When you reach the 2-minute mark, the host will announce time and your microphone will be muted. If you're unable to finish your comment, please share the rest via email, mail, or call our office. Contact information is listed at slccouncil.com. If you have a handout for the council, again, please notify council staff who will assist you. Taylor, we're over to you to begin our first general comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have about 8 people registered. The first will be Ian McCubbin, followed by Will Jamison, and then MJ Powell. Ian is here in person.
I'm incredibly disappointed you voted for that WUI code. This is a very serious matter. I work in Pasadena and Altadena. I have hundreds of colleagues that lost their homes in the Eaton Canyon fire that was started by Southern California Edison. The city has ignored this fact, and I need you all to listen. And I've been talking for years to the city about this problem. And wildfire's not going away. It's here, it's gonna hit our neighborhoods, it's gonna jump into the urban area. I'm not like trying to be an alarmist here. We're seeing this across the western United States. There was West Texas, there was the Morris Fire in Colorado, which burned down Louisville and Superior, very similar, that was caused by Xcel Energy. All of these fires are being started by electrical infrastructure, and the city is asleep at the wheel here. I don't know what I need to do to get the city's support on this topic matter. I've gone to the mayor's office, Councilmember Wharton has been an ally in this, but I feel like everybody else, the city attorney's just been asleep at the wheel on this. Salt Lake City Fire has been great, but they're only going to respond to a fire once it happens. That's too late. The Wildfire Mitigation Code needs to be adopted, but it's not logical what's been passed, and y'all just passed it. I've been there for public comment at the Planning Commission. We were just rolled over. Everybody's concern was not validated. It was just voted on the same way it happened tonight. This is a travesty in our democracy. I mean, our democracy is under attack right now. I think we can all agree with that right now with what's going on in Washington, D.C. You just honored an advocate for political justice tonight, and you all are just ignoring this huge fact that's destroying the Western United States. And how many thousands of homes do you expect have to be lost before someone actually wakes up and does something? And the city is asleep at the wheel. Mayor's office is asleep, city attorney's asleep. What do we need to do? Is there anything?
Time. Next will be Will Jamison, followed by MJ Powell, and then David Waldman. Will is here in person.
Will, are you with us? Taylor, I don't believe Will is in the room.
Next will be MJ Powell, followed by David Waldman, and then Colin Kingsbury. MJ, you may now unmute.
Good evening. Tonight, I want to address another broader issue that affects us locally as well as nationally. The growing expansion of federal law enforcement operating with limited transparency or accountability. History has shown us, whether in Jim Crow America, apartheid South Africa, or 1930s Europe, that the greatest injustices grew from local institutions that stayed silent or became complicit. Local leaders had the power to resist, and too often they didn't, or they were politically retaliated against. We cannot shy away from that retaliation and allow that pattern to repeat itself. Salt Lake City has both the authority and the responsibility to draw clear lines. I'm asking for the council and mayor to pursue 3 concrete policies. First, adopt a city code limiting SLCPD involvement in federal immigration enforcement. SLCPD should not participate in ICE or HSI operations involving non-violent or civil immigration matters. Assistance should only occur when there is an immediate threat to someone's physical safety, and even then, jurisdiction should default to state authorities. Second, strengthen non-cooperation measures. That means formal policies restricting SLCPD from sharing data, joining raids, or participating in federal investigations that are unrelated to unrelated to violent crime or a valid court order. Third, establish a public reporting mechanism, whether a hotline or online portal, so residents can report unlawful or suspicious activity by unidentified individuals claiming federal authority. No agency should operate in this city without clear identification and accountability. These are practical preventative steps that will reflect from history. When local governments stand firm, overreach is harder to commit. When they look away, harm grows. Thank you for your time. I hope you'll listen to me on these matters.
And next will be David Waldman, followed by Colin Kingsbury, and then Ingrid Bankmurder. David is here in person.
I live in the Avenues. I'm here to talk about Department of Public Utilities. I believe they are running amok, and City Council needs to rein in this department. Last year, I spoke to you all after DPU showed up in our neighborhood, cut an unauthorized access road, a road for which they never had public hearings, a road they never took to Planning Commission, a road none of you were ever consulted on, a road the neighbors were never told about, a road they completely bypassed our process. When DPU was confronted with this lapse in judgment and process, their answer to you and to the community was they were behind the 8 ball, they needed to move expeditiously for RMP. That's unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable for a city entity. And today, I don't believe that their cavalier attitude has abated. Their latest abuse of power came to me in a letter on November 3rd, threatening to shut off my water in 9 days. This was not a 6-month delinquency, nor a habitual lack of payment. My payment due date was October 24th. DPU received my October payment October 22nd, just as they do every month via my bank auto pay. The 20th of every month, $148. True, DPU didn't receive $98 of my $246 bill. My payment was 1/3 short. Shame on me for owing Salt Lake City $98. Shame on DPU for threatening to shut off my water. It's outrageous that any government would threaten the citizens with water shutoff for making a partial payment, for 9 days delinquent, for owing $98. Is our city really that heartless that water shutoff is appropriate for $98? Is our city that short of cash that bills should be collected with a baseball bat? I ask you to tell DPU this is not how we treat our customers, our taxpayers. You have my bill, or excuse me, my notice that shut up.
Next will be Colin Kingsbury, followed by Ingrid Baumgardner, and then Kellen Higby. Colin is here in person.
Hello, my name is Colin Kingsbury. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I want to make a brief comment about the West High rebuild. Unfortunately, other committee members were unable to be here tonight due to work or childcare obligations, but we just wanted to thank Councilmember Warden for working so hard for our street and our neighborhood and lessening the impact of the rebuild on us. So thank you.
And next will be Ingrid Baumgardner, followed by Keller Higby, and then Jonathan Mark. Ingrid is here in person.
Good evening. My name is Ingrid Baumgardner, and I live here in District 4. This is my first time coming. I think I might be a little late to the game. I am on the board for Town Park Condos, and this is in regards to the water and sewage increases. I am in a community that is from the early 80s, so we also have aging infrastructure, so I understand the need to be investing in it. However, having over a 100% increase doesn't seem sustainable or fair. Essentially, our community is owner-occupied, and there's a cap of 2 renters per floor. And with our water rate, we have fantastic graphs that are showing our usage year over year. They're virtually the same, but our water bill in July was around $7,000, and it went to $15,000 in September, and then $18,000 for October. That is a huge increase. We have a very tight budget that we're running, and so we're obviously going to have to pass these costs on to our residents, and that does show a difference of about $80 per unit. And we have a lot of retirees, a lot of students. We're one of the few communities here in the downtown area that is fairly affordable. And I was wondering if there was any thought on this being A, temporary, or B, if there was a way to not have it hit at once, kind of ratchet up, if that was something that is being discussed or a possibility. Thank you for your time.
Next will be Taylor Higby, followed by Jonathan Mark.
Sorry, Taylor, just one moment.
Just one moment. Madam Chair, if you wouldn't mind sticking around after the meeting, I can share some information with you about that, or if one of our staffers can, but if you don't mind just waiting a few minutes. Awesome, thanks.
Thank you. Oh, sir, if you can come speak at the microphone, that way the people online can hear you too. Yeah.
Yes, I can speak from very personal experience. I live on under $2,000 a month for everything. Think about it. $75 for me is huge. So I appeal to you on a personal level to reconsider this. And I thank you, Eva, for getting back to me and giving this further thought. It really is a question of making ends meet in a very personal way. So I appreciate your attention, and that's all Ingrid is eloquent. She covered everything, so I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
And next will be Jonathan Mark, who's here in person.
Good evening, council members. I'm the third individual from this condominium homeowner association. We're here really just to make the introduction so you can see the whites of our eyes and vice versa. And I know we're in good hands, and thank you so much, Congressperson Lopez Chavez, for reaching out to Mr. Higby on this. I know he mentioned that you were very prompt in your reply, so we appreciate that. Just to put a character to this, the community is about 145 households. They are small condominiums, so that it is more affordable. The demographics are largely seniors and folks that are just starting out, so young professionals or students. I know you heard a lot and talked a lot tonight about affordable housing. This is a community model that already exists and is being disproportionately impacted by this utility change. And passing that on to folks that we know do have fixed incomes is something that we take to heart, and we appreciate you helping us with next steps. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was the final registered commenter.
Great. Thank you for everyone who came to share your comments. And like I said, I think our staff would like the opportunity to connect with you. So we don't have too many more items, so it shouldn't be too much longer. With that, we have no new business items. And so now we are moving to unfinished business for item F1 for a resolution for the station area plan exception. For this, I'm looking for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that the council approve a resolution recognizing the impracticability finding for certain transit stations area plans so that the city may request a Wasatch Front Regional Council exception for said station area plans.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Councilmember Dugan and seconded by Councilmember Lopez Chavez. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. That brings us to the consent portion of our agenda. I will look for a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Councilmember Wharton and seconded by Councilmember Lopez Chavez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes
I
unanimously.
was an aye.
Oh,
I was an aye, sorry.
we're also an aye. Okay, then it does pass unanimously. All right, team, this concludes our Salt Lake City Council meeting. For tonight's formal meeting now stands adjourned.